What's up everybody, here I am for a Saturday night upload, which is a rarity, but in this video I want to talk about Cleanspark and a couple of upcoming catalysts to look forward to, and I also want to talk about what we typically see for Bitcoin before the halving. We're going to take a look at each halving and see how Bitcoin's price action has performed. So let's get into this video. If you guys like it, you know what to do. I definitely appreciate the support. Consider checking out the links down below for some free stocks and cryptos, and consider joining my membership if you feel like it. Now cheers guys. Let's get it started. And first we're going to look at Bitcoin on the chart. Now before I show you guys how Bitcoin has performed before each halving, I do want to say that Bitcoin to me seems very strong right now, and the price just continues pushing up. And one thing you will notice right off the bat is the RSI is cooling down. We are now looking at a more neutral RSI, which is one thing that I was really hoping for. And one thing that didn't happen is we didn't really sell off to get that RSI. We basically just traded sideways. Now one thing I'm watching for, and I do think the market will react to it, is this ascending trend we've been following. You see this green line that's ascending here? This is our current support. I do think it's a matter of a few days before we either bounce and try to test this previous high, or we fail it and come down a bit, but that's okay. I'm honestly welcoming a pullback, and I'm sure some of you that have been seeing Bitcoin move and didn't take advantage as much of buying it earlier are probably hoping for some pullbacks to buy. And I think this is the general mindset around Bitcoin right now. The halving approaching tells me that price will go up higher, and we're at the perfect timeline that every pullback is going to be a dip buy opportunity, in my opinion. Now, while the RSI is cooling down, I do still anticipate a pullback. If we do break this trend line, we'll probably come down to around 35 and then test that area. But the chart is very bullish on Bitcoin. The RSI is giving us room to continue running now, and we're at the perfect point in time in terms of the halving. Now, before I get into a couple of things on Cleanspark, things to look out for and things to anticipate, I want to talk about Bitcoin's previous halvings. So in late 2011, before the 2012 halving, we saw a huge price appreciation. However, once 2012 began, we did pull back a bit, and then the halving approached and we continued running, ran through 2013 as well, before starting to pull back in late 2013. Now what about the 2016 halving and the end of 2015? Well, from October to the end of that year, we saw about a 35% gain only in November and December. And then we kind of saw something similar where the new year started, 2016 started, we consolidated, pulled back a bit, and then the halving hit and we went absolutely parabolic. And this parabolic move continued until late 2017. However, in the 2020 halving, looking at late 2019, we actually traded flat, if not a little bit down, if you're accounting for just November and December. But you guys remember what happened in 2020, and I would say it was a bit of an anomaly year. This isn't the norm. 2012 and 2016 were the norm in terms of having price action. And of course, I got to give you guys a disclaimer and say there are a lot of moving parts. Right now, we're dealing with record high interest rates. We're facing all these recession woes, but on the positive, we have more institutional interest than we've ever seen before. But just as it stands, if I have to say that Bitcoin's halving for 2024 is going to play like any of the others, it's going to be likely the 12 and 2016 halving. And I've already told you guys this before, but to me, this means that Q4 for Cleanspark is going to be a very good quarter. Throughout October and so far in November, we have seen Bitcoin appreciate in price drastically. And we're not at the end of Q4. We still need our Q3 results, which are actually coming out in December. But so far, it is shaping out to be a very good quarter for Cleanspark. And that's one catalyst we have approaching us around a month from now is Q3 earnings. And in Q3 earnings, they are going to give Q4 expectations, revenue forecasts, things like that. And considering Q3, they're expecting a revenue of around 53 million. And that was when Bitcoin's price ranged from anywhere from 25 to 30,000. I do expect they're going to give at the very least a $70 million price for their revenue in Q4, and they may even be profitable. And the odds of profitability are increased if Bitcoin gets to $40,000 by the end of the year, and better yet, throughout most of December. But we'll have to wait and see on that. And we also have something else to look forward to, and there's their Bitcoin mining update. Less than 2 weeks away now. And in our last update, in our October update, they did notify that everything's on track in terms of their Sandersville build. And that on buildings 1, 2, and 3, racks have already been installed, meaning machines come next. Now, before I go, I do want to quickly show you guys Cleanspark's chart. We do have an infamous number to watch out for, and that is 420. Call it a meme number, call it whatever you want, but I do think Cleanspark plays that number. We either break out of it and then retest it and bounce, or we find it as resistance. And you'll see that the stock has a clear reaction on that price. It finds it as resistance like it did here, only to later pull back, retest it, and break out. And it continued utilizing it as a support, finally broke it, broke out of it, utilized it as a support again. And on our pullback from about 8, we did utilize it and bounce on it, however it didn't hold. it also became an infamous resistance for us. We are currently under it again, and I do think a break of 420 will also break us out of this descending channel that we're in. And I do think this is kind of an if this then that scenario. If we do break 420, I do think we're going to break out of this channel. But thanks for watching, guys. What do you think about Cleanspark? Do you think we're going to break out of this descending channel very soon? And how do you think their next mining update will go? As well as Q3 earnings, and what do you expect for their Q4 revenue target? Also, how do you think Bitcoin's going to play out? Is it going to kind of play out like the 2016 halving cycle, 2012 halving cycle? Or are people going to keep 2020 fresh in their minds and try to kind of trade it based on that? Or is it going to completely do its own thing entirely, considering so much institutional interest, Fed rate cuts coming, and the potential for some Bitcoin spot ETFs putting even more money in? Thanks again for watching, guys. Hope you continue to have a good weekend.